So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about potassium, and we are going to walk around the stalls here at Shepherd's Bush Market to buy some high potassium foods and low potassium foods to show you how to cook them up. As you know, coconut is quite high in potassium.
Yes.
So anything that's made with coconut, so we've got coconut flour, desiccated coconut, coconut milk, coconut cream, all of that will be high in potassium. So what you can do is just try to limit how much you have. So you can have rice and peas every now and again, and when you know that, for example, you haven't had a high potassium day or a high potassium week, so maybe you only use half a can of coconut milk when you're cooking something like rice and peas. You soak and you boil your beans to make sure that you're getting all of the potassium out of the beans.
Yes.
You make sure that you have loads of low potassium sides.
Yes.
In terms of vegetables. So you boil your broccoli, your cauliflower, your carrot, and maybe you stay away from, fried cassava and yam or plantain.
Wow.
The trade-off is you get to have a bowl of rice and peas.
Yes. So let's say if I use a tin kidney beans, would that be just as good? Is that better or
Tinned
worse?
kidney beans. So with beans, we tend to suggest tinned. You can get just as much potassium out of them if you soak them and then boil them.
Yes.
Tinned is usually a little bit easier for people anyway, just because they take less to, make. So yeah, either tinned or soaked and then boiled.
Oh no! Wow. Cornmeal porridge. I could have that. That's
Yeah.
really low in potassium.
Yeah, and semolina.
Oh my God.
You could do the same thing. Cook it up with a tiny bit of milk, tiny bit of sugar.
Oh, a bit of nutmeg. That sounds really nice.
It's a lot lower in potassium than some, store-bought alternatives, things like muesli or Rady Breck or
Yes.
bran. So it's just, if you choose a low potassium breakfast, at least you're starting your day with a little bit of a higher potassium allowance for the rest of the day. There's nothing that you're never ever allowed to have. It's all about what the entirety of your diet looks like.
Okay.
So what you're having in a day, what you're having in a week, and what your bloods look like, what your potassium values look like as a consequence of that. We all know nuts are healthy. They're a really good snack. They're a good
Yes.
part of a Mediterranean diet. They are high in potassium. So once we know that, we can adjust the diet accordingly. So if you want, a small handful of nuts, say in your semolina porridge in the morning, for example, then you try to be as strict as possible for the rest of the day, especially if you struggle to keep your potassium levels at bay. If you can give them up, there are better snack options that you can have. So something like a small pot of yogurt and something like an apple or some grapes or lower potassium fruit is something that's going to keep you fuller than just a handful of nuts, and that's going to be lower in potassium. Maybe go for unsalted nuts, because if we're thinking about your dialysis or if we're thinking about your renal restrictions and your kidney friendly diet, we don't want you to have too much salt and too much water.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.